Check on the teams. Chelsea third in the table have sprung a surprise by dropping Mike Hazard from their midfield. A little more than a month ago he cost £300,000 from Tottenham, but he's taken some time settling down. Robert Isaac gets his third game only in the first team. He'll be at right back. The side as a whole has really started to shape up well, and not least Kerry Dixon in good scoring form after a poor start. He's now scored 6 in Chelsea's last 6 games. Top scorer for Manchester United, of course, is Mark Hughes with 9. So there's going to be quite a battle between two of the most successful First Division strikers here today. However, Manchester United are still without Brian Robson. He's got a hamstring injury. Gordon Strachan, he's only just started training again. Remy Moses and John Gidman. But what a side manager Ron Atkinson can still put out into the field, now with Paul McGrath taking Robson's place in the midfield. The referee today is John Martin of Alton in Hampshire. So Manchester United in red shirts and white shorts get us away, attacking the goal to our right on an afternoon, a splendid autumn afternoon where conditions are perfect. Those 4 wingers, both sides playing 4-2-4, each of them having just 2 men in the midfield. It really is a throwback to the old days and the prospect of some really fine attacking football here at Stamford Bridge as Whiteside gets it back to his keeper Gary Bailey. Really a good place for Manchester United to come to keep this run going. They've won 5 of the last 7 times they've been here. Here's McGrath getting his cross in, a little too high for Stapleton. Barnes trying to come on the far side, and a goal kick. United for a moment hustling the referee, suggesting that Barnes had been pulled down and it might be a penalty, but I don't think that even crossed the referee's mind. And Robert Isaac, rather a traumatic start. He's only 19, comes from South London. Dixon. Well, a powerful shot that Bailey had to watch really closely. Really hammered that with the right boots. And Bailey catching it at the second attempt. Whiteside. Arthur Alveston. Trying to get McGrath in. But Chelsea getting it away as McLaughlin now finds Nevin. Dixon is away on his left. That's the ball for Kerry Dixon. Bumstead waiting in the middle. Nevin's continued his run. This could be trouble for Manchester United, and in the end they concede the corner off Moran. Good break by Chelsea there. Suddenly 3 men were springing forward, and United for a moment looked to be in a little bit of trouble, and they might still be. Deep corner. And Speedy getting in, but it's just too high. So a goal kick for Chelsea. There's Ron Atkinson in the centre of the picture in this night suit, leaning forward, masterminding a really great season for Manchester United. 13 played, they've won 11 and drawn 2 in the league. Rugby for Chelsea, to Nevin. Speed is after it. He's again got Hogg to contend with, and Hogg threw it away. Oh, and he's going to be booked. Well, that's a shame. I mean, it was silly to throw the ball away, but it was a reflex more than anything else. I always think, and it's a debating point, I think the referees now really make life more difficult for themselves if their first booking is something like that. What do they book and what don't they book in the minutes that remain? And there are still 25 minutes of this first half left. So Hogg goes into the book. Nevin takes the free kick. Oh! And a save from McLaughlin. And Bailey could have known very little about it. Flicked in by Nevin, the free kick. Flicked on by Kerry Dixon. Just the merest touch there. Came off a defender too. And a reflex save by Gary Bailey. Barnes getting his header in. Chelsea's throw, or rather Manchester United's throw. And Arthur Albiston with it. Hughes. Albiston. White side onto the left foot too. Kicked in towards Stableland. Sadly for United, just a little too high for him. White side again in possession. Albiston. Duxbury has come wide to make himself available. Here he is. Olsen. Olsen again, a little lucky to get it back. Now Nevin on the break again for Chelsea. With McAllister in freedom away on the left. But I don't think the angle's going to help the youngster. There's a couple of fine breaks that Nevin's made out of defence, but he delayed that pass a little too long. But it's Chelsea in possession again with Kevin McAllister. Oh, he turned Duxbury beautifully there. A little too high for Dixon, and Bumstead shot away for the goal kick. Well, there's no doubt about it. The Chelsea threats are coming from young Kevin McAllister, and Bumstead in the end a little too high with his finishing shot. Did really well. He turned Duxbury. Remember, Duxbury's an England international as well. And a goal kick. Hughes chasing this one. McLaughlin should get there first, but Hughes might still. It was touch and go, and there was no whistle. That suddenly looked as though it was going to get out of Chelsea's hands when McLaughlin looked to be in control, and if Hughes could just have got his feet a little quicker than that, he might well have nicked it past Niedzwiecki. At the other end, Speedy going on, and Bailey goes down. No goals yet, but no lack of effort, and it's really a crisp October afternoon here, I can assure you, but you've only got to look at the close-ups of the players' shirts. Bathed in perspiration, a free kick there, a foul by Duxbury, pulling back on McAllister, a free kick to Chelsea. Now will Chelsea find something from this? Nevin will take the free kick, McLaughlin's come up from the back, Dixon's heading ability is well known. Nevin curled it in towards the far post. There are 4 Chelsea players gathered there, and Bailey beats them all. Olsen. Hughes. Olsen with Spackman after him. Still Olsen. Oh my goodness, he nearly brought him down there, and in the end, Niedzwiecki. A particularly good cross there by Olsen, just pulled back a yard or so, and there were 3 men waiting. But Spackman wasn't far from pulling him down in the box either. Duxbury. And now at the moment, I'm afraid, the game is not giving any chance to flow at all. There are so many free kicks being given, and advantages very rarely being played. Hughes. Olsen. Spackman's right there with him. That's his job, and he's given away the corner. Nigel Spackman having a word with the referee. I don't know what it was about, because it clearly came off him for the corner. Now, for the first time, Graham Hogg's gone forward, the big, tall central defender. McGrath's in there and Moran, so the big men are up for Manchester United. Niedzwiecki getting it, and half getting it, and getting it at the second attempt. Long clearance, oh, his own man, and Hughes, good grief. Well, that was so close to the most remarkable goal of the season. And what a lucky man the Chelsea goalkeeper is, looking up as though there's somebody up there who likes him, because he certainly had luck on his side with a clearance that hit, I think, probably one of his own players, but fell for Mark Hughes, and Hughes then hitting it straight back at Niedzwiecki. McGrath, Olsen, and a goal! Jesper Olsen, only his third this season, and it stunned the big crowd here. And it seemed that the keeper, Niedzwiecki, was a little slow getting down to it, because it wasn't hit with that much power from outside the box, as you can see, and just inside the post to put Manchester United 1-0 into the lead. Jesper Olsen. So this amazing run by United is still very much on the move. Hogg getting involved with the referee. I don't know whether it's McAllister, the Chelsea player, who's involved, but there's... Well, Hogg's already had his name taken. Or is it Alveston? No, it's Alveston. Well, if it's Hogg, he's got to go off, surely. He had his name taken, Graham Hogg. No, it's McAllister. I don't know what Graham Hogg, the number 6, must be worried about his immediate future. Well, he's already taken Hogg's name for throwing the ball away, and he has been sent off. Well, the first foul was totally innocuous, the throwing away of the ball. The incident off the ball was the one that has meant that Graham Hogg is sent off. Now that could well cause a bit of trouble. Ron Atkinson was on the field, and the referee having a word with Ron Atkinson now. You can see how stunned the Manchester United manager is. And the referee, I have to say, is piling up troubles for himself. There's stuff being thrown onto the pitch now. And a highly charged afternoon might well take a bit of controlling now. Obviously, a referee can only give what he sees. The referee has seen 2 fouls by Graham Hogg that he regards as worthy of yellow cards and being sent off. And the United fans are none too happy about it. But they are a goal ahead. Now with 10 men against Chelsea's 11. Referee looking at the watch again. He's played nearly 2.5 minutes of time added on. McAllister. Umstead with the cross in. McGrath, who's gone back to a central defending position now. As the half-time whistle goes. And Manchester United going in with a 0-0. The lead given to them by Jesper Olsen. But the sending off of Graham Hogg of Manchester United, and certainly some highly controversial refereeing by John Martin here in the first half. A half-time score then at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester United 1. So the crowd now eagerly awaiting the start of the second half. Referee John Martin gets it underway with Chelsea in the all-blue strip attacking the goal to our right. 1-0 to Manchester United, remember, Jesper Olsen's goal, but United, of course, now down to 10 men. Here's Kevin McAllister, only his second game in the first team. Back to Isaac, who's having only his third. Speedy to Isaac. McAllister. Chelsea seeking to dent this proud Manchester United record and get a corner. McAllister with his corner. Still having trouble getting it away. And flipped away magnificently by Bailey from John Bumstead. Well, Bumstead, scorer of one only this season, and Dixon over the top. Let's have a look at the previous corner. What a splendid save by Bailey. A foul by Hughes, and it was. He was jumping early and jumping into McLaughlin. A free kick quite properly given by the referee to Chelsea. Pates with it. McAllister. United were claiming a handball there by the little Scot. Bumstead. Spackman, McAllister, who's looking really lively in this game. Nice little ball there, played to McLaughlin. It might come to him again, it might come to Dixon, he's offside. He's offside. It will not be given. Realisation and the frustration and the disappointment. And there's no doubt at all, the flag was up straight away. Yes, he's probably just about in line with the last player, which is enough to be offside. So it's still 1-0 to Manchester United. Ridley. And Hughes. A few unkind words to each other. It's pretty tense out there, you can imagine, with United 10 men desperately clinging to this lead and under a lot of pressure. Chelsea feeling that they really should be making some progress against the 10 men for the whole of this second half. So it's a nervy, frustrating afternoon for both sets of players. And very tense too. Hughes sweeping it there for Duxbury. Inviting Stapleton. Played in for Olsen. That was a good run by Olsen. And it looked like an obstruction there on Duxbury. Referee gave nothing. Whiteside. Been very muted this afternoon, Norman Whiteside, but here he is. And that's not a bad ball. Duxbury comes off Pates. McGrath, oh, he misjudged that with the head, but there was cover from Alderston. 17 minutes left. Spackman. Nevin. Duxbury having two goes at him. The free kick quickly taken. And it was a handball, probably the second. Yes, it was a handball there by Stapleton. Nevin. And Bailey losing it. And they have forced it in. McLaughlin has. The big centre-half scores his first goal of the season. Courtesy, to some extent, by Gary Bailey. Then when the free kick was taken, Nevin floats it in. Bailey, well, makes a hash of it, really. Now the panic stations are really on. And what an inviting moment that was for Big Joe McLaughlin to make it 1-1. Now, is Manchester United's unbeaten record really in danger now as Chelsea bring it back to 1-1? One thing's for sure, we're in for quite a last quarter of an hour, thanks to Joe McLaughlin's goal. Mark Hughes, getting his name in the book. Now, what can we expect in the final 15 minutes? United, remember, 10 men. Chelsea thirsting for a victory that they feel they need to make real progress on this Manchester United 10-point lead at the top. We're not too interested in a draw. We really want to win today, was what manager John Hollins was telling them before the game. Well, here's McAllister. It's all Chelsea at the moment. It might come for Speedy, and in the end it was Whiteside who walloped the ball 40 yards over his own crossbar and away into the crowd behind the goal. So a Chelsea corner, and a rip-roaring finish is on its way. Nevin will take the corner. All the Chelsea big men are in there, including Rugby and McLaughlin. And Bailey lost it again for a moment there and was saved by his defence. It's another Chelsea corner. Intense pressure here now. And Bailey grabs that one safely. Spackman, Dixon, no, against the crossbar. It beat Bailey, all ends up there, but not the bar. And Chelsea so close to getting that important second goal. They're going to take some holding now, Chelsea. They really got the wind in their sails, and Kerry Dixon blasting his way through there, and unlucky to see the ball bounce off the crossbar. Hit with tremendous power. Now Stapleton for Manchester United. Hughes. My goodness. And a goal! Mark Hughes! What a brilliant answer by Manchester United. What a striker he is, into double figures, number 10 for Mark Hughes. About the only serious attack they've had in the second half, and Eddie Niedzwiecki was merely groping thin air as Mark Hughes hits a tremendous right foot shot in. From outside the box, there was a little bit of space for him, he found the angle that was right, wallop, and United are back into the lead. Can Chelsea pull themselves back again? Rugby. McGrath with a header for United. Whiteside getting it wide for Duxbury. Now Stapleton. Free kick given. Way off the pitch, the tall figure there, the lonely and sad, disappointed figure of Graham Hogg, who was sent off in the first half. It may depend, he's urging his teammates on for all he can. Jesper Olsen, Little Dane, back for Barnes. And flag up for an offside. Chelsea's free kick, not wasting any time about it. McAllister now, as the Blues come sweeping forward again. Look at McLaughlin right in there as well, linking up superbly, and what a good ball by him for Nevin. Nevin again, a little dink in, and Speedy couldn't really make very much of that. Rugby. United have pulled everybody back. Here's McLaughlin again. Pounding at that Manchester United goal. Jones trying to get Speedy in. Jones again. Nevin. Teasing and tormenting this United defence, both he and McAllister. The little ball there, cut out well by McGrath. Rugby. Cross again towards Bailey. Gathered it well at the highest point. My watch, 3 minutes to go. Randall Atkinson in the suit, the Manchester United manager. Nick Brown alongside him, his right-hand man. And these are tense and difficult moments for them, wondering whether their side can just hold out for these last couple of minutes. Oh, there was Jesper Olsen, in fact, kicking the ball away. Graham Hogg got himself booked for that early in the first half. And John Hollins, some animation there on the Chelsea bench. To Doug Rugby, wanting Rugby maybe to link up and come forward and take a chance. Certainly Chelsea have got little to lose now. Whiteside just planting the ball up, the old tactic towards the corner flag. Takes a few more precious seconds off the 90 minutes. Massive kick again by Niedzwiecki, right at the edge of the Manchester United penalty area. McAllister. Inside the last minute now as Speedy finds Jones, and now Spackman. Speedy offside against Nevin, the flag is up. A sigh of relief you can imagine on the United bench and amongst their many supporters here in West London today. Just really got to keep their heads now for the few seconds that remain. Orbiston planting it forward. Hughes was onside. What a nice ball there played for Jesper Olsen, and saved brilliantly by Niedzwiecki. What a great break by United though, and a fine ball by Hughes. Dixon. Moran. Oh, that's gone conveniently towards the corner flag for them, and Olsen was up there, but here's Pates. Playing time added on. The last gasp chance this for Chelsea. Good header work again by Moran. Hughes, Rugby. Pates will just whack it forward anywhere again, hoping a blue shirt can get on the end of it. Duxbury and Bailey. And that might well mean that United finally are safe. Have a look at the watch by the referee. Rugby's header, now McLaughlin, still the whistle hasn't gone, still deep into injury time. Nevin. McLaughlin, the big defender who's already scored once, that came off McGrath. The bench are urging Olsen to run towards the corner flag with it. It's a United throw, the whistle has gone, and United's crowd record remains. Down the tunnel goes Graham Hogg, who was sent off in the first half, and the odds look to be against Manchester United then, although they led by Olsen's goal. And they were pressurised the whole of the second half. McLaughlin then scored, number 5, got the equaliser for Chelsea, and the number 9 going down the tunnel, Mark Hughes, getting a handshake from Gordon Strachan, who's back in training again now for Manchester United. But what a proud and gutsy performance by Manchester United against all the odds after Hogg had been sent off. And now they have played 14, won 12, drawn 2, lost none. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 2. Is without the former Spurs midfield player Mike Hazard, who's fit but not quite what I want today, says manager John Hollins. But again, they'll be looking to the scoring power up front of Kerry Dixon with 20 goals and David Speedie with 13. Spurs, of course, have got Mark Falco with 12 goals, and they were greatly relieved this morning when Chris Waddle passed a test on a sore right shin. Also two cousins in this Tottenham side, Paul and Clive Allen. The referee today is J.C. Deacon of South Glamorgan. And so it's Chelsea then in the all-blue strip who get us underway, attacking the goal to our left, and Nevin straight into the action. And a free kick also in the opening seconds to Chelsea. Unbeaten in their last 8 in the league. In fact, only one defeat here at home at Stamford Bridge, and that by Manchester United. Rugby playing it forward, cut out easily by Waddle. Now Hoddle. And they throw again to Chelsea. With something of a score to settle here. They were beaten 4-1 at White Hart Lane back in September, Chelsea's heaviest defeat of the season. There's Danny Thomas. Perryman. Picked on that time by Allen. And McLaughlin away for Chelsea. The last time we were here on Big League Soccer, Big Joe scored, Joe McLaughlin scored for Chelsea against Manchester United, although Chelsea lost 2-1 that day. It's Murphy and Mabbott away. Freezing conditions here at Stamford Bridge, and although there was that little bit of give in the surface around about 2 o'clock, I'm wondering as the light goes and the frost reappears whether it will harden up a bit. Murphy again. Dixon onside. Speedie waiting in the middle. And Nevin in there too, and McAllister also, still with Dixon going a long way. And almost a half chance there, we'll know. Spurs all over the place, and it very nearly came back for Dixon to be able to prod it in. But at the end of it all that Chelsea got was a corner. Certainly touch and go there for Tottenham. And then floating it in. And it was Falco who got it away. Dublin. Allen playing the ball in towards his cousin Clive Allen. It's the Chelsea skipper, Colin Pates. Mabbott winning it in the air. Free kick to Tottenham. I have to say, in these opening minutes, it is a frenzied and shapeless, typical local derby. Needs people like Glenn Hoddle maybe to bring a bit of order out of all the frenzy. But it's Danny Thomas now for Tottenham. Perryman. Stevens. With a gap opening up for him. Shot charged down by Pates. Goes for Dixon. Well, McAllister now. A long way. And good work by Ray Clements. He made the save but didn't quite know where it was, and that was a tremendously powerful and positive run by McAllister, and Dixon can't quite finish that off. And all credit there though to Ray Clements for the save, but at the moment here's Paul Allen. Now Hoddle. Stopped by Pates. And a free kick. Well, that really was a tremendous run by young Kevin McAllister. And Ray Clements, at the age of 37, probably having as good a season as ever he's had, brings off a thrilling save for Tottenham. Well, they're talking about Ray Clements as a possible England man for the World Cup in Mexico at the age of 37, behind Peter Shilton. I think that's unlikely to happen, frankly, but it's a testimony of the sort of season he's been having. A free kick, meanwhile, then to Tottenham. Hoddle will take it. The little chip coming in, and that's Niedzwiecki. Waddle. Well, he certainly got the better of Dublin. Still with Waddle, curled away there, and some good work by Niedzwiecki that had to be finished off by another defender after a good run by Waddle. Picked his spot. Niedzwiecki diving well to his right, keeps it out, and it'll be a throw to Tottenham. Waddle getting the better of Dublin. Curious effort. But what is clear is that the young Chelsea left-back Keith Dublin's having a very difficult time both against Paul Allen and Chris Waddle. Speedy. Waddle. The offside flag is up. Speedy again, causing problems in the air. He lacks inches, but not determination, that's for sure. And Mabbutt gets it away. Good player to have in your side, Gary Mabbutt. Can play in about 6 or 7 different positions. Now as a central defender. Spackman will take the throw for Chelsea. Also the man who takes their penalties. Spackman planting it in there. And it's in there with Kerry Dixon again. 21st of the season. And that unfailing head of his has put Chelsea into the lead. Man who was once an apprentice at Tottenham meets that ball superbly and puts it wide of fence. Well, that's got Chelsea with the start they want. They're pulled back here for an offside. An amazing goal-scoring record this young man's got. Now very much in contention for an England striking place in the World Cup in Mexico. And with his goal record, it's hard for Bobby Robson to deny him. Spackman. So, bottom right of the picture, Peter Shreve, the Tottenham manager. Speedy putting it in there. That was looking for Dixon again. Now Spackman. Speedy again, and this time offside. And Danny Thomas down injured. Tottenham bench, you can see Ossie Ardiles standing up, wondering whether he might get on as the substitute. Next to him, John Chidozie. Also Graham Roberts in there as well. Paul Miller too. You can see the reserves there are quite considerable in that Tottenham side. Thomas fit to resume. Spurs free kick from that offside. Dublin. Half an hour gone, Spurs a goal down, and Ardil is warming up on the other side. And by the look of Danny Thomas, he's hobbling so badly, I think it's just a matter of time before he comes off now. Can Falco finish that off? He can't. I think it was McLaughlin who made the heading error, and suddenly Falco looked as though he was in the clear. If it was a chance, it certainly was taken far too quickly. Touch. Dealers. Nice little bit of skill and a good cross in there, and Falco almost on the end of it, and Allen missed his kick, and there was a glorious opportunity turned aside by Tottenham then. And lovely cross coming in there. Falco looked to have the chance. If anything, Clive Allen probably had a better one. Chelsea survived. Nevin. Good, well contested game this at the moment, as Spackman now takes it up for Chelsea. McAllister. Well, there was a trip, but it seemed an unintentional one by Waddle, who's clearly injured the little winger, McAllister. But he's off the field. And the play presumably will continue. No reason why it shouldn't. Referee having a word with the linesman just to make sure that he was, in the linesman's view, also a purely accidental trip. Free kick given to Chelsea. Dublin with it towards Dixon. And a free kick given to Tottenham. Dixon backing in on the defender just when the Chelsea fans felt there might be a penalty their way. Allen. Waits. Allen again. Waddle. So Clive Allen on the far side. He's picked him out unerringly, but there was also some good, swift challenging by Rugby, and a safe pass back to his keeper, Eddie Nijveski. Great ball by Hoddle. So Kevin McAllister holds off after that challenge. Chelsea have brought on their substitute, Paul Cannaville, on for the injured Kevin McAllister. We saw him injured just before half-time. A winger on for a winger, and Chelsea leading by 1-0 as we start the second half. Still freezing temperatures here in West London, and Spurs knowing that there's a good deal of work for them to do in the second half. There's Stevens. Dealers. Without Spurs did look a better proposition once he came on. And we'll also be hoping that he brings out the best of Glenn Hoddle. It'll be Hoddle with the free kick. Comes out to Allen. Dealers. Perriman. Houghton. Played in by Waddle, but straight to a Chelsea player, Nigel Spackman. Fouled by Ardiles, free kick to Chelsea. Both matches between the sides last year finished in 1-1 draws. At the moment, Spurs might well settle for that. Spackman. Ardiles. Gary Stevens. Bringing in Chris Waddle. It's more like the old Chris Waddle. And it might still come for Clive Allen. Can he set it up for anybody else? No, it looked for a moment as though he might send it up for Gary Stevens, but it's back with Chris Waddle again. Bit of pressure here from Tottenham. Trying to get round Rugby. A goal kick. The right decision, signalled by Doug Rugby, and the referee perfectly placed to see that the ball, in fact, had last come off Waddle. Cannavale, the substitute. The first chance for him really to stretch his legs down that left flank. Perryman back there with him. It in now to Dixon. Oh, against the post. Out for Cannavale. Crossed in once more. Speedy there. And his second chance goes over the top. Well, nearly goal number 22 and the second of the game for Kerry Dixon. Thumping that shot against the post. And when Cannavale was able to return it, eventually it comes to Dixon again, and this time the shot's too high. Huddle. Houghton. Waddle. Perryman. There by Houghton for Ardiles. And followed right at the end by Joe McLaughlin. But Ardiles has made such a difference to this Tottenham side since he came on just before half-time for the injured Danny Thomas. Refereeing decision there was a little shove by Stevens as the ball was coming down, and the referee at exactly the right angle to spot it. He gives Chelsea a free kick. Nevin will take it. McLaughlin up on the far side. Dixon too. It was Dixon's header, shoveled away there by Clements. Absolutely magnificent gear again, meeting the free kick perfectly, and a shoveling action more than anything else by Ray Clements to get it away behind for the corner. Jerry Murphy then with the corner for Chelsea. Floated towards the near post. Rugby in there as well, looking for the little flick on, and Keith Dublin putting it away amongst the spectators in the shed. And now it's Waddle. Obstruction on Waddle by Nevin. It'll be a free kick to Tottenham. Means half an hour to go. Perryman with the free kick. Spackman. Now can Cannavale get the better of Allen? Well, he could, but his shot was wide, and it's a goal kick. So applause from the shed as Cannavale shrugged off the attentions of Paul Allen across the face of the goal.
Now Houghton. Waddle. Perryman. Falco. Hoddle. Waddle again. And it was Dublin who got it away. Perhaps he didn't hear the call of Niedzwiecki, who was just behind him. Spurs looking so much better in this second half, and whereas for quite a while in the first half you wondered how they might save it, they must now begin to sense that this game is here to be saved. And the man on the ball at the moment is the one who's made all the difference, Ossie Ardiles. Canaville. No one stopped him that time. Maybe a free kick for handball there. Floated towards Falco. McLaughlin. Stevens beaten by Dixon in the air. And here's Speedy. Now can Speedy... That's going to be a penalty brought down by Clements. The referee instantly pointing to the spot as Speedy is brought down by the goalkeeper. Chelsea now with a perfect chance to give themselves a cushion of a 2-goal lead. No doubt about the penalty. Spurs arguing with the referee, although what their case is, I can't imagine. And the referee in no doubts. So Nigel Spackman. 4 goals this season, 2 of them from the penalty spot. The number 8 due to sign a contract next week that would keep him here at Stamford Bridge until 1990. Gives himself the chance of an early celebration. The beating of Ray Clements is no formality. Now, can he really put Chelsea clear? Spackman against Clements. 2-0. Clements looks back in anguish, knowing how close it was to a save. As Spackman hit it high to his right. Clements got his hands to it, but could only push it into the net. And Chelsea lead by 2-0. 63 minutes gone. Just when it seemed, certainly in the early part of this second half, that Spurs could get this game back under control. Rugby, flattening Waddle, Perryman, Ardiles. Those great old Chelsea pensioners, soldiers from the past, with a little bit to warm them up here this afternoon. Hoddle, it's a really anonymous game, Glenn Hoddle. Spackman. It's going to be a throw to Tottenham. Who scored the second goal from the penalty spot, Nigel Spackman. Allen. Houghton. He's got Waddle. If he can get Waddle in, which he can. Played across the face of the goal. And Falco within a whisker of making a contact that surely would have got Spurs back into the game. Good Tottenham move that, finishing with Chris Waddle's drive across the face of the goal. Falco flat out, no contact. In fact, it must have come off a Chelsea defender. The ball goes behind for the corner. Perryman to Hoddle. Now Waddle. Falco's header is wide. It's a goal kick. Chelsea bench. It's not the best view on the ground, but the news is good from there. Abbott pushing in on Speedy. Free kick to Chelsea. Pat Nevin with it. Floated towards Cannaville. They let him go. And that could have been really costly. Looking at that again, you can see how flat-footed that Spurs defence were at the far post there, and Cannaville was almost able to embarrass them. Cannaville coming in again. Just past. Speedy couldn't quite force it home. So close there for Cannaville. Been so pacey and positive down that left flank in this second half. Just failed on that occasion. Now little Nevin. And again it's Nevin. This time trying to get Speedy in, who's onside. For Nevin! Superb piece of reflex keeping there by Clements. Well, it certainly looked to me as though Clements lifted the ball over the crossbar. Allen. Beaten away by Dublin, but unfairly so. It'll be a free kick this time for Tottenham. Stevens, Ardiles, Perryman, Ardiles, Allen. Now Dixon versus Houghton. How will the bounce go? Dixon showing tremendous acceleration, but Houghton then came back at him, and Chelsea get a corner. Really went into overdrive there and looked for a moment as though he might get goal side of Houghton to the extent that he would get a shot in at goal, but Houghton came with a little rally late on, and the most that Chelsea got was a corner, which Nevin will take. Hooked away though by Gary Stevens. And offside against Speedy. It'll be a free kick again to Tottenham. Well and truly beaten here at Stamford Bridge today as the final whistle goes, where Tottenham, as Chelsea win by 2-0, thoroughly deserving it. A totally disappointing performance by Tottenham, who had just that one spell early in the second half when it looked as though they might save things, and then of course they conceded the penalty, and then it was all up for them. For Chelsea, it was a totally committed game, and Dixon in the first half and Spackman with a penalty in the second means they've stretched their unbeaten record in the league to 9 games and push ever closer to the top. So a lot of promise and potential in this young Chelsea side as we leave Stamford Bridge with the scoreline Chelsea 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Chelsea goalkeeper Edin Izveski has been getting really good distance with these kicks. Speedy. Nevin. Speedy, oh, good play. Now here's a good moment for Chelsea. There has to be. Speedy scores. His 16th goal of the season, but a goal that illustrates Chelsea's quality. Lovely interplay between Speedy and Nevin, and that stemmed from another of those long goal kicks by Niedzwiecki. Well, what good control by Speedy, heading it forward and running into the penalty area to plant it past Mark Grew. Chelsea 1, West Brom 0, 20 minutes gone. Carlton Palmer. Well, Mark Grew will be disappointed. This is his first game for West Brom since coming back here on loan from Ipswich and already having conceded a goal. Dixon makes a run. Now Steve Hunt. Oh, good ball. Garth Crooks. Only one man in the middle for him, that's Varady. On his left side. Garth Crooks back today after 3 weeks' absence with an injured back, with Albion's last chance of the first half, but Niedzwiecki in the Chelsea goal didn't have to move his feet to stop it. McLaughlin finds Dixon, who holds up the defender and keeps possession, and finds Bumstead. Play waved on. This is Spackman. Speedy, and referee slipped. Still Speedy. Colin Pates. Touched on by Dixon. Nevin. Murphy! Once again, Chelsea make it look so easy. They'd had possession of the ball there for several minutes, were turned back several times, and then it was their captain, Colin Pates, who punted it forward to Dixon, who got a touch on, then Nevin, and finally it fell to Jerry Murphy to score his second goal of the season. Murphy. Keith Dublin. Spackman. Nevin in space, having recovered from that knock of a few moments ago. Bumstead and Nevin. Again, good football by Chelsea. Can he get the cross in? He can. Surely it was easier for Speedy to score. Chelsea had done all the hard work. Nevin's speed getting him behind the Albion defenders. Cut it back perfectly to David Speedy, who got right underneath it and put it over the bar. Mercurial little player, Pat Nevin. Palmer. He's done well here, the youngster. Cross came off the heels of Dublin. And it's Pates who brings it out. Nicol. Crooks looks as though he might have been pushed in the back. He was. Referee Keith Cooper of Glamorgan gives the penalty. Well, Garth Crooks looked as if he was about to jump for that, but as he was trying to do so, I think it was Colin Lee, who was standing behind him, who seemed to prevent him. The pair of them ended up on the floor, and Albion have a penalty. Not well struck by Derek Statham, and Niedzwiecki makes the save. So Albion, bottom of the First Division with only 2 home wins all season, have really only themselves to blame for not giving themselves a glimmer of hope in this match. A ball for Dixon to chase. Forsyth comes across. Oh, and he's made a mess of it. Nevin must be 3, and it stands. Oh, what a disaster for Albion. Having just missed a penalty at the other end, a total hash in defence, and Nevin will not have an easier goal to score all season.
which beat Newcastle on Saturday. Despite wearing number 2, the Northern Ireland international Alan McDonald will play in the centre of defence alongside former Chelsea man Steve Wicks. So England centre-back Terry Fenwick will continue in midfield. Chelsea have never lost on Rangers' artificial surface, but they did lose a player, a late scare, when Joe McLaughlin hobbled off with a pulled tendon during the warm-up. So only half an hour before kick-off, Doug Rugby was told he was playing at number 5. The referee tonight, Leicester Shakhtar from Torquay, his linesmen John Biles of Oxford and Norman Leslie of Worthing. Chelsea in red are unbeaten in their last 16 matches in the 3 major competitions. That's the task facing Rangers in the hoops tonight. And already Chelsea, with this tremendous support behind them, have a free kick. There's as many Chelsea fans in the ground as Rangers. Lee and Rugby have both gone up on the far side. It's been taken by Nevin and played in low. And to safety for Michael Robinson. Good running by Faraday through the centre here for Rangers. Turned on by Byrne. Dublin is the fullback, number 3. Keith Dublin, 20 a week today. It's a big game for some of these young players. Wicks has gone up into the penalty area for Rangers. And there he is. This is Spackman for Chelsea. And Dixon looking for Speedy, and Fenwick and Speedy collided. Accidental, but there have been some bruising matches between these two clubs down the years. Faraday quicker than Rugby, and did he impede him? Nijveski came to stop Faraday, who is one of the quickest players in the Football League. He's like lightning, the number 11. And big Rugby there, who only knew he was playing at 7 o'clock, had an early test. Dixon. That was Neil. Nevin, and through the middle it's Speedy, and this time Barron comes out and the whistle's gone. Speedy was offside when the first ball was played. There's so much excitement in the ground that nobody heard the whistle. They used to say in the old days that Arsenal Spurs was the great London derby. It may still be in many ways. But here in West London, you can't hear yourself think. That was Pates. Here comes James. Free kick given to Rangers. Jerry Murphy not happy, but Leicester Shakhtar has given the free kick. I think he's just saying calm it down to Dublin and Robbie James. Now, Rangers here could look for McDonald and Wicks, the 2 tall men. McDonald coming in. It's a corner, and he'll stay there now on the near post. Robbie James will curl this in, looking for a flick on from either Byrne or McDonald, possibly. And McDonald up with Nijveski. Fenwick! And it was Bannister who put it over the bar. McDonald up at the near post. It dropped a bit for Fenwick, and it was Bannister who jabbed it over. Dawes. And Faraday breaking well away from Colin Lee. They've got 4 arriving in the centre, Rangers. Appeals for handball. Against Lee. And there's MacDonald. He got away, possibly from Kerry Dixon to get that header in. Fenwick curled the free kick across, and MacDonald turned that into almost a free header. Nevin, Bumstead. Free kick. Lee takes it. Bumstead's there, so was Rugby. Head tennis for a moment, and then Bannister got a lovely flick to find Faraday, and Rangers have got 4 breaking here. Bannister's in a good position. Robinson further over. Dublin's clearance. Here's Byrne. It's there. John Byrne puts Queen's Park Rangers in front after a superb counter-attack. Bannister played a brilliant ball across to the left. Faraday got away. It was played in. Keith Dublin didn't get his clearance properly, and John Byrne, from the edge of the penalty area, planted that shot wide of Nichbescu, didn't move. 12 minutes gone. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Chelsea 0. And what a cut time we appear to have here. Here's Speedy. Back again to Lee. It was Nevin who was fouled by Dawes. So Chelsea have the free kick. It's going to come to Spackman. Wicks was in the way. Spackman again. Offside. Referee was well placed to see it, actually. Spackman knocked it back in, but a couple of Chelsea players were beyond the last defender. Dublin's header. It's Bannister with plates. Murphy. Play on to the referee. Robinson inside to Bannister. Dublin. Looking again for the front men, but MacDonald was there. Speedy's touch. And Fenwick pushing with Bumstead, but this is Byrne. And Faraday, they're really trying to use his pace, Queen's Park Rangers. They've got him in that wide left position, and he's so fast, it's a real full-time job for Colin Lee. Speedy. Oh, well played. Nevin. Looking for Speedy again. Chance for Chelsea. Pull back, and a corner. MacDonald and Fenwick having to cover, because Speedy got round the back. So Lee and Rugby on their way forward again to go into the 6-yard box as Jerry Murphy prepares to take the corner for Chelsea. And there is Rugby and Lee, and it's Nevin. Chelsea are level 25 minutes. The corner swung in from the right by Gerry Murphy. Rugby the first man to go in. Lee was behind him, but from almost on the line, Nevin forced in the equaliser. After 25 minutes. Bannister. So 1-1, Chelsea back in it. And there's Rugby in there again. Dublin. Last minute of the first half, this is Byrne for Queen's Park Rangers. Fennick. And now Robinson. Bannister's in there, here's Byrne. And a corner. James to take it. And Wicks with the header down. There he is again. They're appealing for handball, nothing given. It's a good ball by Fennick. And a good cross too, and turned away by Rugby. Fennick, who put Warren Neal in down the right, a good deep cross, and Rugby got it out for a corner. Stoppage time at the end of the first half. And Lee making a rather better clearance perhaps than he deserved there. He's trying to turn it out for a corner initially, I'm sure. Still free, and half-time in this rip-roaring London Derby Milk Cup quarter-final, which got off to a flying start. Queen's Park Rangers taking the lead after 12 minutes through John Byrne, and Chelsea equalising after 25 through Pat Nevin. 1-1 at half-time. It's quite a lucrative competition now, the Milk Cup. It won't be that, of course, the Milk Cup after this season. It'll be the Littlewoods Cup, but under the present sponsorship, the winners receive £72,000, and even the beaten sides in this round, in the quarter-final, receive £18,000 each. So there's plenty to play for here, as well as prestige, between these two West London rivals. Chelsea now playing from left to right in the second half. Speedy. Murphy. And good running by Bumstead. And only half saved by Barron. Speedy couldn't follow in. Barron coming out to meet the twin threat of Bumstead and Dixon. He got to the ball but didn't claim it, and neither did Speedy. Oh, mistake by Pates, and Bannister with a great chance for Rangers, which he's missed. And you'd normally back Bannister in that position. What a let-off for Chelsea. Colin Pates completely misjudged the bounce of the ball on this less than familiar surface for him, It went right underneath his foot, and Bannister was clean through. Niedzwiecki narrowed the angle, Bannister shot wide. Just how much will Rangers regret that? There haven't been many clear-cut opportunities of that nature, and that could be a costly miss by their top scorer. Neil. And Burns flick, and Bannister closing again, and Colin Lee this time to make a timely interception. Lee was the saviour there. Byrne releasing Bannister, and this time he wasn't allowed to shoot. Corner to Rangers. And McDonald. Wicks gets a foot in. Well played by Nevin. This is Speedy. Spackman down the centre, but he's a long way off. Robinson. Oh, Dublin got away with that. Good ball by Spackman, looking for Murphy. Well, it's a well-balanced match, this. A couple of Chelsea defensive errors. I don't know whether you put either of them down to the surface. We don't hear quite so much these days about the difference between this pitch and others, but it's sometimes harder for teams who only play on it once a season, or twice maybe. Here's Pates, whose mistake went unpunished. Offside. Chelsea did in fact have quite a long training session on the surface yesterday. That's Dublin. This is Faraday. Nice ball by Murphy. And Dixon almost got there. There were three to stop him, two defenders and the goalkeeper. And now Fenwick on the break for Rangers. That was a brilliant through ball by Jerry Murphy that absolutely split the Rangers' ranks, and Kerry Dixon had it all to do even then, because there were two defenders closing, the goalkeeper coming out, and even then he wasn't far off forcing it through them. Long ball by Neil, and here's Byrne. Back to Robinson. Bannister! Good effort on the volley. Oh, it's an awkward bounce, and Speedy even then might have made it. Goodness me, Barron was just about caught out there, but got away with it. The corner's been quickly taken, and away by McDonald. Well, it just goes to show on this surface that the bounce can even confuse players who are used to it. Goodness knows where Barron would have put himself had that gone in. Even then, he might have been overtaken by Speedy. Well, there's Jim Smith in the raincoat on the Rangers bench on the left there. Feet were a little high on that occasion from Jerry Murphy, which he acknowledges. So it's Wicks with the free kick for Rangers. Robinson is coming in from the far side. This is James. Dublin only as far as Neil, and Bannister's up here. Well, Rangers, knowing that as the home side, they would have to try and settle this first time, this cup tie. And that's easy for Niedzwiecki. Wicks, a good, powerful header. Byrne and Rugby. Mistake by Rugby. This is Byrne. Bannister's in the penalty area. It's still Byrne. And it's still Byrne. And, oh, Niedzwiecki didn't save properly, and Dublin scrambled it away. What a strange incident. Byrne beat Rugby in the first place and then beat two more. It wasn't a very good shot. Niedzwiecki still didn't hold it, and Dublin got the ball clear. And Wicks still up there. This is Faraday. Now Fenwick. McDonald forward for Rangers. 20 minutes to go, and the Chelsea goal in this second half has had two remarkable escapes. The first from Bannister when he shot wide, and then from John Byrne, who, having done the harder part, should surely have had a better shot. Here's Byrne again. James. That's safe. Well, Rangers now beginning to pepper the Chelsea goal, as though they sense that a replay here would obviously sway the tie in Chelsea's favour. Well, the match has lost a little bit of cohesion for the moment. It's almost too frantic. Forward by Bumstead. That's McDonald. Bannister, Fenwick in the attack. Faraday! Nice snapshot. Dawes. Lead for Chelsea, but here's Fenwick. Neil. Dublin, that's not a bad ball at all. Given away a bit by Neil in the first instance, and it's got Rangers wrong-footed. Nevin and Kerry Dixon, surely! Flag's up. Flag is up on the far side. Won't be given. Quarter of an hour left. And the linesman wants to speak to the referee, and the linesman still isn't happy with what the referee's given. I suspect Mr. Schupter must have assumed the flag was for offside, but was it? The linesman may have flagged for an earlier foul there. The referee had already played on. Dixon put the ball in the net. I assume he thought it was for offside, the referee, when the flag went up, and now he's got to come back and explain exactly what's been going on. So Kerry Dixon thought he was on to his 22nd goal of the season. He finished it well enough, but the flag for offside ruled the goal out. John Hollins has come down to the touchline during the second half, and he's been standing there for quite some time, right next to the Rangers bench. Fenwick. And Byrne. Dawes. Well worth a try by Dawes. A right-footed player, foremost, but playing left back from that position, ideally placed perhaps to try and curl one like that. And the crowd, who played their part to the full tonight, bringing this cup tie to a fine finish. Through by Speedy, and Dixon's lurking, and he's gone past the keeper. Oh, goodness me, it would have been an impossible shot almost to have got it in from there. The angle was so tight, but Dixon, so eager, he got away from the goalkeeper and was prepared to try what would have been a spectacular winning goal. We're in stoppage time, and indeed that effort from Kerry Dixon is the last action in this hugely enjoyable Milk Cup quarter-final, in which Chelsea have forced a replay against their West London neighbours, which will take place at Stamford Bridge. Chances at both ends in the second half, the best of which fell to Bannister, but in the end they go back to Stamford Bridge on the 5th of February with a final score here of Queen's Park Rangers 1, Chelsea.
Rugby's header, and planted forward by Van den Hauwe. Outfield will need a second bite at it. And kept the ball in play with the help of Gary Stevens. McLaughlin giving himself sensibly a couple of yards to compensate for the explosion of pace from Lineker. Here is Lineker. Sheedy. It's a fervent start to the match. But we still await for the first goal with 11 minutes gone. And Speedy caught Van den Hauwe that time, and the shot and the goal from Gerry Murphy. So Chelsea off to a flyer against Everton again for the 4th time this season. And Murphy's trusty left foot did the trick. After Speedy had jumped with Van den Hauwe, Dixon caused some confusion. It broke perfectly for Murphy.
I would think Howard Kendall may be a little bit annoyed at the tackling there as far as the Everton defenders were concerned, Martin. You know, weak challenge that went in there by both Mountfield and Stevens allowed the ball to run free to Gerry Murphy. You see that here. He just brushes aside Mountfield there. A poor tackle by Stevens, and there's Murphy with a sweet shot.
So Gerry Murphy picked up on a free transfer from Crystal Palace, John Hollins' first signing, making a very useful contribution here at Goodison Park. And Ian, Chelsea have got their support here in force.
Yes, they have. And I mean, I was here at the Milk Cup game in December when Chelsea beat them 2-1. And again, you know, the Everton fans that were telling me that they believe that Chelsea are the best side to come here this year. So that's saying something, really. And I must say that night, Kerry Dixon scored a marvellous goal. And, you know, he'll give them problems again today. And to be a goal up at this stage of the game, great confidence booster for Chelsea.
It's Murphy's third goal of the season. Everton do have a marvellous goal-scoring record on this ground. You have to go back almost 2 years to find the last occasion that they failed to score in a league game here. Speedy offside again. Take the free kick quickly.
Peter Shilton makes his 750th league appearance. His debut for Leicester City back in season 65-66. By contrast, in the opposition goal, Steve Francis gets his first game of the season on a ground where his career was launched as a 17-year-old back in October 1981. The lineup in front of Francis shows one change, the absence of Jerry Murphy, who has a number of injuries. Kevin McAllister deputises. Southampton welcome back Joe Jordan. He hasn't played for the first team since October, since which time he's had a cartilage operation. But they lose Mark Wright because of injury. Mark Whitlock comes in his place, and although Danny Wallace is now fit, he can do no better than take the number 12 shirt. The referee this afternoon is one of the Welshmen on the FIFA list, Keith Cooper from Pontypridd. For different reasons, both teams may have Wembley in the back of their minds, but both managers will surely have urged them before the kickoff to forget all about that. Chelsea in 4th place, 7 points adrift now with just 2 games in hand on the leaders. Dixon and Bond battling. Mark Whitlock's back pass. Good example of the attacker getting his body in front of the defender in order to shield the ball. Steve Moran. Jordan, nicely timed. Mark Dennis. Lawrence coming across. And McLaughlin a little lucky that didn't fall to Cockerell. Holmes, worth a try, and got caught in 2 minds. Perfectly capable of having a shot from that sort of range. We've seen it in the past, but he was looking for the chip for somebody going forward, I think. Spackman. McAllister. There's a bit of a gap there. Holmes came to him to close it down. First time he's been able to cut inside. This is Rugby. 5 Chelsea players in the middle. Dennis. That's a good try, and it's in. I think it got a deflection. No, an offside decision has been given against Kerry Dixon, so McAllister's effort will not count. The ball was deflected, and Kerry Dixon was standing in an offside position. He's a bit unlucky, Kevin McAllister, but what would have been his 2nd goal of the season, rubbed out for offside. Lawrence, oh dear. Referee just has a quick look, allows the free kick to be taken. And Wood has to put it out for a corner, with Armstrong coming in behind.
Speedy takes the near post, McAllister takes the far. Dennis, chance for a shot from Lawrence. And Cockrell strided over the ball. What he couldn't tell, but what our cameras clearly picked up, was the fact that if he'd have flicked at it with his right foot, it could have caused a lot of problems for Steve Francis. Whitlock. Work for Lawrence. Oh, but not for Moran. He's a bit lucky. It's a second chance. Oh, good confidence to meet it on the full. Not sure there wasn't a foul by Lawrence at the start of that move, but the bounces favoured Southampton, and it was a good attempt at a finish by Steve Moran. Nod down came from Rugby. On by Jordan. Pates is committed, and committed well. Kevin Bond making his way into the area. Cockrell has pulled out on the edge of it. Fine ball by Mark Dennis. No challenge on Lawrence, and here's Bond. And McLaughlin, fine save by Francis. Came off the centre half. And Francis got down very sharply indeed to turn it round the post. But it was significant in that attack that Kevin Bond was picked up at no stage, and it was he who got the header across the face of the goal that caused the problems for McLaughlin and then for Francis. Forrest, slight lack of concentration, but neat turn. Moran. He was certainly lucky, Joe McLaughlin. Spackman. Oh, beautifully done. Lovely sway of the hips, one way and then the other. Pity the cross didn't match it. But the cross really was played a little too early. Oh, beautifully poised, though, at the start of that, Pat Nevin. Away by Cockrell, got a touch off Nevin. Dixon. Wood. Dixon was poised. Cockrell. And we reach half-time with a blank score sheet. But Chelsea players have come nearest to scoring. So half-time, 0-0. So intense is the battle at the top that really a draw here would not be good enough for Chelsea. So close to winning at Everton last Sunday, and then held in midweek by QPR. They need all 3 points here past Peter Shilton. Forrest. Moran, offside. And the number of offside decisions are becoming, in truth, a bit of a bore. And we've had An hour, 2/3 of the match without a goal. McAllister, it's outside the area. Interesting to see whether he sees that as obstruction. Just an academic point as whether it matters that it was outside the area. Nevin on the ball. And it's Colin Pates who hits it, and it's deflected. And Chelsea have the lead. 62nd minute, and not unearthly that Peter Shilton can do about that. Not very happy, the England goalkeeper. But the shot by Pates deflected, and it went in like a rocket. Gets away with a bit of a charge. Free kick for offside. Just the touch of the free kick to Colin Pates, and he struck it well, but Mark Whitlock stuck out a leg, and that was enough to take it past Peter Shilton. Bumstead. Pass and return. Ended by Whitlock at the expense of the corner. Bumstead. Spackman to set himself, wasn't given too much time. Shilton looks at the ground. Is that a spot I see before me? Spackman. Nevin. Time to pick somebody out. Dixon far post, Speedy in the middle. Wood. No question that Chelsea have looked the better side and controlled the match since going ahead. And maybe since slightly earlier than that. Free kick against Kevin Bond. And he reacted quite strongly against the referee. Bumstead, the injured player. Southampton are going to make their substitution. Not universally popular that George Lawrence is off, but the home crowd happy to see Danny Wallace on. Nevin, Speedy. Oh dear, oh dear. Dixon didn't actually make a challenge for the ball then, which seemed a little surprising. Forceful on his feet. Nickel in the centre there. Cockrell, Speedy, making every defender work. And I think workmanlike is a good description of Chelsea's performance. Spackman feeding the right shoulder. Armstrong, Wallace! Grabbed late, but successfully. Just for a moment then, Wallace seemed to have a yawning goal. Cockrell, route to goal was blocked by Speedy. And the route to the back pass, that is. And the one goal decides. Chelsea have the spoils through the goal from the free kick, scored by Colin Pates, which took a deflection off the wall and gave Peter Shilton not unearthly. Very much a B feature, but Chelsea stay on course for the main event, the contest for the championship.
Bay and McNabb.
time. The nerves have obviously settled. Away by McCarthy though, and a nice turn from Andy May, who's made a good start to this game. Twice worked himself into good positions. Kinsey has made a run down the right. Lillis, that could be a handball against Rugby. The full-back caught the ball and struck him rather than he used the hand deliberately. Mr. Saunders was close to the action. The free kick given. But now, will chip it forward, and it's away by McLaughlin. And that's going to be yet another corner for Manchester City. Quickly in, and some confusion in defence, and a goal! A goal for Manchester City! The final touch was by Steve Kinsey. So, with just 9 minutes gone, Manchester City from their third corner take the lead. And the Chelsea defence was caught there. The ball driven in hard and low, and it was Steve Kinsey who got the important touch. Only his second goal of the season. Such an important one, and here he is again. That will encourage Kinsey no end. Hey, Lillis is here inside the area. Back by Pates, trying to work it around him. But it's Bumstead this time who concedes the fourth corner that Manchester City have won in the opening 10 minutes. About the nerves now of the young Chelsea goalkeeper Steve Francis, who's been kept out of first team action by Eddie Nitzvishki for so long. Now his team a goal down as Wilson hits another one. Well, this has been a very positive start by Manchester City. Midway inside the Manchester City half, and really this is the first opportunity they've had to put any pressure on the Manchester City defence, and Nixon getting in a bit of a muddle with his own defence, and here's Bumstead, and the ball drilled wide, but it did come off a Manchester City player, and there was certainly confusion there between Eric Nixon and his centre-back. So Pat Nevin will take Chelsea's first corner. Rugby getting his head to it. Chelsea now keeping forward in numbers. This is Speedy, planted by Wilson, so he'll have to play the ball back to Darren Wood. We've got plenty of men lining up on the edge of the area. One of them is Lee there. All confusion again. They're racing away down the right-hand side. Asking Kinsey to do an awful lot though. Few of these players have had the experience of playing at Wembley before. This man certainly has the goalkeeper Eric Nixon in his first season of league football. And Wilson losing out there. So Chelsea with Wood. McAllister, who switched flanks, it's noticeable since the start of the game with Pat Nevin. Two Scots, and here's McAllister doing particularly well and trying to get around Power. Nice to see a side playing with two wingers as Chelsea do, with the little Scots, Pat Nevin and Kevin McAllister. There's another Scot, David Speedy. Bumstead is on the edge of the area. McCarthy, strong man of the City defence, getting that ball away, but a very strong challenge indeed by Colin Pates. Oh, and a lovely back header. Oh, and Speedy was coming in and made it so well, and Nixon goes down to make the save from Bumstead. Very intelligent play by both sides then, and there's more here as Nicky Reid
centres forward in the outside right position. In the end, his run was worthless. Because Chelsea won it back, but now Clive Wilson has done the same for Manchester City. Andy May again, very much involved. The ball now eventually does get out to Nicky Reed. Now, but ball's for Lillis inside the area. Sort of half-hearted appeals for a handball, I think, against Joe McLaughlin. Colin Lee, good decisive header back for David Speedie, who's got McAllister outside him. From inside, tries to thread it through, but blocked by Paul Power. He's on the ball again now in an attacking position. Another goal. This time he does get it through for Melrose and for Kinsey. Power forward for Lillis. Wood has come 30 yards there. Now eventually uses McAllister. A lot of red and black striped shirts in front of Kevin McAllister. Eventually leaves it for John Bumstead. A close passing game here at the moment by Chelsea. Eventually Wood drills it in and then only finds the head of McNown. McLaughlin sends it back. Nevin. He feels there for handball. A bit optimistic, I think. Speedy though. Almost crowded out. Falls to Lee, and that is going to be a free kick. Neil McNabb suggesting that Lee took a dive. The referee Alan Saunders from Newcastle has been right by the action every time so far. So Pat Nevin's there, so is Spackman, and Nevin tries to work it through. And Lillis in the centre-half position, which is where he actually played in yesterday's game, gets it away. That's going to be pretty obvious. McCarthy has time to do exactly what he wants. Distance from that clearance by Eric Nixon. Alistair evading the touches of Clive Wilson. Wood looking down the middle for Speedy this time. That's good play by David Speedy, appreciated by the crowd here. Rugby. And Nevin down on that side to try and tease Reed. Will now float his cross in, but it's a bit too flat. It was young Redmond who got it away. A lossy ball from McNabb aimed at Kinsey, who can't find Reed, of all people, who's up there again. And he now gives away a free kick by catching McLaughlin on the ankle. Reminder of the score, 23 minutes gone, and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. Steve Kinsey striking in the 9th minute. But for the moment it's Chelsea in all white today, who come forward with Nevin and now Spackman and now Lee. Rugby asks Nevin to do something a little bit more positive perhaps this time. The little winger drills it across, and Speedy gets the equaliser. Well, there have to be question marks about the Manchester City defence there. There's a big row going on between Mick McCarthy and Eric Nixon. But as Pat Nevin floated that cross in, little David Speedy, who's only around about 5 feet 8, climbed above the Manchester City defence, and his header rocketed into the roof of the Manchester City goal. So with 24 minutes gone, it's all square again. It's now Chelsea 1, City 1. Distance with his kick, and it's on by Lee, looking for Speedy. McAllister, no room to work it, so he has to play the ball back for Darren Wood, who now crosses the halfway line. Lee makes a run in the outside right position, but here's Speedy. Ball again from Speedy to McAllister, and Manchester City under a little bit of pressure again here as Kevin McAllister tries to get to the byline and wins the corner off Clive Wilson. No shortage of corner kicks in this game. The latest will be taken by McAllister. Again prefers the right foot, and McCarthy comes racing out to get a good clearance, and now Kinsey has a bit of a chase on with Pates. McCarthy so commanding in the air, putting that ball away, but here's Lee outside the area. Spackman, Speedy, leads again there. Good interplay, and now Speedy gets in another shot. There was a flag up for offside anyway against Spackman, so it wouldn't have counted. But some lovely interplay between the Chelsea forwards there. Chelsea supporters singing their amorous praises for their team, who've pulled back as Lee hit a very strong header. And they're still here, Chelsea, because the ball is worked back for Wood and Spackman. Not a lot of room for him. Speedy, good in the air again, and Wilson punched it in with a chance. It came off the goalkeeper's legs. Spackman again, Lee. Yes! Oh, he's delighted with it. Chelsea have come back from one down to take the lead. And Colin Lee, who's been playing most of the season as a full-back, celebrates his return as a striker in place of Kerry Dixon with the second Chelsea goal. Minutes gone, and we've got quite a spectacular game here. But watch this, Phillips, good shot, good positioning by Steve Francis. Well worth remembering that Chelsea goal all started from Darren Wood in the right-back position. Spackman had been very involved, Bumstead getting in a shot, and when it came back up Nixon's legs, Spackman drove it in, and there was Lee. And now McAllister might get a third one for Chelsea. He's there again. Nixon surely should win this. Off the line. Well, the young Manchester City goalkeeper is under a lot of pressure here at the moment. He's been beaten twice in the space of 12 minutes. And Chelsea are flooding forward now. Some lovely interplay between the Chelsea players. They're really finding their men very easily at the moment. Speedy. Well, this time the ball isn't worked through to Nevin. Easily cut out by McLaughlin. This time. High kicking right. He apologises to Neil McNabb for his indiscretion. If Manchester City were to score now, it really would set up a real second half. Cliffhanger. Chelsea. McCarthy takes the free kick. On by May. Andy May for Manchester City. How outside him this time. Using all his skill to work the ball through there to David Phillips and then take the return, and they've done well to keep possession, the two of them there, and McNabb eventually gets in a shot himself. A couple of feet too high. He's had a marvellous season, Neil McNabb, and showing all his array of talent there. And Manchester City, a goal down, having been a goal up, come forward with McNabb, who's been the most influential player, and Kinsey tripped. No, says the referee. Well, that must be a controversial decision, because there was no doubt that Steve Kinsey was going outside the defender. His legs were taken away from him. But referee Alan Saunders very quickly indicated that he didn't think it was worth a penalty. So inside the first minute of the second half, those claims were waved away, and Manchester City have a corner instead. Nav takes, and Lee gets away. Missed inside the area, so Lillis turns and it's just scrambled back by Hawkey with Kevin McAllister. So is Speedy, and that's good defensive play by Nicky Reid to get between the two of them. Here is Speedy, scorer of the first Chelsea goal. Lovely ball, great vision there to see Pat Nevin in that position. Now Nevin can't get past Reid, to work the ball inside and then loses it. Reid did exceptionally well there to stick with Pat Nevin. Speedy making room to receive that throw from Rugby. The emphasis of the attack switch to the right. There's Lee down the middle. Nelson. Okay, inside right position, and Phillips trying to make a run. And here is Andy May, who didn't quite get the shot on it. Good ball for Spackman just outside the area. Then Nevin, and on the far side there is McAllister. The header down for Lee, takes it on the chest. McAllister does similarly, but the whistle is gone. but the free kick has been given against John Bumstead. Coming up for this free kick, which now floats towards the penalty spot. Spackman who heads it away. Now we'll try another chip. This time aiming for Paul Power. Played here, of course, for Manchester City. Cup final of '81 against Spurs. Clearance by Francis, and Nevin tries to work it through. Speedy, good goalkeeping, but Nevin again. Well, there's a real chance for David Speedy, but the goalkeeper did well initially, and then when the ball came back to Pat Nevin, he couldn't keep it down. Wilson can't beat Pates. Cloughan under some pressure there. Does well to work it away, but still Chelsea in possession with McAllister, looking for Nevin, far side, away, not very far, another chance for Speedy! David Speedy's got his second goal. The cross delivered by McAllister, and with the Manchester City defence in all sorts of disarray, the ball fell kindly for Speedy, and he doesn't need that sort of chance to turn down, and he accepted it gleefully. Chelsea 3, Manchester City 1. City need to get back into this game quickly now. Here's Andy May on the edge of the area. Good interception by Pates. Valuable one too. Well, this really has been a splendid footballing match. Some lovely football played by both teams, and especially Chelsea in this last half an hour of the game. McCarthy has stayed up there and gets it across for Wilson. Away by Spackman, only as far as McNabb. Plays a very intelligent ball to Paul Power, and coming in at this side is McCarthy. Oh my goodness me, the referee said his foot was up. Francis hurt his hand in the challenge. Lee, a good header on for Nevin. City men up in this attack, which is led by Wilson. Kimsey out on the flank. Confronted by Power, who makes a good challenge, and I think he's won the throw-in as well. Yes, he has. Tough challenge by Power. That's over tough by McLaughlin. The Chelsea fans in full voice now. Manchester City coming forward, and Rugby hooks that ball all of 50 yards ahead of him. Missed kick by Redmond, so Lee's little header finds McAllister. Oh, he's brought down without question by Paul Power. Nice to report as yet, though, there hasn't been a single booking in the game. Penalty area. One of them, though, is Lee, who's there now. There's a ball for Nevin here. Nevin's so skillful on the ball and gets round Reed. It might go in. It certainly does. Chelsea 4, Manchester City 1. The congratulations go first of all to Pat Nevin for the cross. Then to the hat-trick man, David Speedie, for the goal. Well, not many players get hat-tricks at Wembley, but David Speedie was at that far post, the simplest of his 3 goals, and it really was put on a plate for him by Pat Nevin. Manchester City now making a double substitution as well. They might have 4-1 down, with David Phillips and Nicky Reid going off to be replaced by Graham Baker and Paulson. But here comes... There is Speedy again. Chelsea supporters sing, there's only one David Speedie. His goals have come after 24, 52 and 59 minutes. taking that free kick, and Speedy inside and away. Now then, can David Speedy get his fourth? Well, he tried to chip Eric Nixon, and it just didn't come off. Now finding Kinsey, lovely ball. Wilson, and that's a good ball again. Onside as well. Simpson, across for Lillis perhaps, and a good interception by Colin Bates. Gillis real touch that Paul Simpson has had, and he delivered a meaningful cross. And it would certainly give the fans behind this goal something to cheer if Manchester City could get their second goal. McCarthy's going to be up for that one with Rugby. McCarthy's in there again, but that's just going to be too long, the header. McAllister thinks it should be a corner. Speedy inside the area, great save, but only for the moment. McAllister into the side netting. Oh, they've given the ball away again. Lee will try one, and he's hit it well! Oh, he's hit it magnificently! Eric Nixon stranded, picks the ball out of his net for the fifth time. This has turned it into a rout. Speedy's got three, and now Lee's got two. He's absolutely thrilled to bits with that one. So are all the Chelsea fans. Their team lead by 5 goals to 1. Ten minutes left. Wilson for Manchester City. Play. Chelsea have it again. And Manchester City keep going forward in numbers. Chelsea could score any amount of goals. Pates, who shortly will step up to receive the Full Members' Cup as the captain of Chelsea. Now confronts Clive Wilson and wins the ball off him. Wilson again. Still Wilson. Almost lazy there, but did that ball go out? No, it didn't. Little flick from Speedy, but Lee not quite able to control it. I'm sure Colin Lee will exert all his energy in these closing 7 minutes, see if he can get a hat-trick to match David Speedy's. Simpson to conjure something up here for City, and he might do it for Lillis. He has. Well, a great moment for Mark Lillis, Manchester boy who will return to the club this season from Huddersfield supporters. It's a consolation goal, that's for sure. But with just 6 minutes left here at Wembley, it's now Chelsea 5, Manchester City 2, and Mark Lillis gets the second City goal. Even the Chelsea supporters are cheering. The Riser is singing of what's it like to score a goal from the Chelsea end. And they try and set up another one. Will work back, but McCarthy this time knocks it away. Baker and Wilson. Well, it's not often you get 7 goals in a cup final, but that's exactly what we've got so far. As Wilson beats May, well, that's got to be knocked back to him by Rugby. And here's the substitute, Graham Baker. A golden opportunity to make it 5-3 there, and Sutton Rugby imploring his defenders to regain their concentration. Chelsea 5, Manchester City 2, and just 3 minutes left. Flags waving at both ends. It's Chelsea who'll be singing tonight, that's for sure. Oh, McAllister's getting away from his defender again. Here's Speedy. This time Nixon makes the save. Well, it's 5-2, but the scoreline could well have been something like 8 or 9-5. There have been so many chances. May try and find Wilson through there. He does so. Wilson this time delivers the cross far post. Corner given away by Declan Wood. Away by Colin Lee. As far as McNabb. A lovely ball from McNabb out to Simpson. Simpson taking a little bit too long. Oh! Brilliantly done though, and a real chance for another one, and it is! It's there again! It's 5-3, and that went in, I'm pretty sure, off the poor old Chelsea defender who's lying prostrate on the ground, Durkett Rugby. Lillis put him under pressure, Rugby picks himself up, apologises to Steve Francis. Well, it's Chelsea 5, Manchester City 3, but only 60 seconds remain now. The ball is still in play. Well, this is a quite astonishing end. If they were to score again here, we really would have a fantastic finish. And is he brought down? He hits, it's a penalty. Well, this is quite astonishing. Andy May wriggled his way into the penalty area and was brought down. And Manchester City, who were 5-1 down with 6 minutes to go, now have the chance of making it 5-4. Mark Lillis. Yes. Well, is it possible? The City players run for the ball, they dash back to the centre spot with it. Surely they can't possibly come back into this one now. It really would be a miracle. We saw a grandstand finish between Manchester United and Arsenal in the cup final a few years ago. It's now Chelsea 5, Manchester City 4, and it's all over. They just left it too late. Lillis sinks to his knees. The Chelsea players salute their own supporters, and Chelsea are the first winners of the full Members' Cup final. Remarkable resilience at the end of 90 minutes here, coming back from 5-1 down with only 6 minutes to play to an unbelievable 5-4 scoreline at the end. Paul Power shaking the hands of Richard Attenborough. But now here come the winners, the first winners of the inaugural full Members' Cup, led by the captain Colin Bates. He's going up to receive the cup from Sir Richard Attenborough, the chief guest here. And Chelsea 5-4 winners against Manchester City in a quite astonishing game of football. Thoroughly enjoyable. And those goals, 3 of them from David Speedie and 2 from Colin Lee, are the principal reason why Colin Bates is going to be able to lift that trophy high. And there's the roar from the Chelsea supporters. A marvellous moment for their captain Colin Bates and for all of those players in white. The full Members' Cup goes back a very short distance indeed to Stamford Bridge. I think that Chelsea here have shown signs that they are now obviously one of the top clubs in the country, and they may one day soon be returning to Wembley, who knows, for either the Milk Cup or the FA Cup. For the time being, they content themselves with being the very first winners of the full Members' Cup. And certainly this has been a memorable cup final, thoroughly enjoyed by everyone in the crowd here.
Undoubtedly had more than their fair share of injuries this season, and Ron Atkinson has had to change the side yet again tonight. Norman Whiteside and Colin Gibson are both unfit, so in come Mick Duxbury and Jesper Olsen, who'd been left out for the last 4 matches. 2 crushing defeats and a disappointing home draw have certainly lowered Chelsea's morale, but with matches against West Ham and Liverpool also still to come, they've not written themselves off yet. Doug Rugby and Darren Wood both return tonight after suspension, and with John Bumstead having aggravated a groin strain on Saturday, there's a place in midfield for Mike Hazard. Tonight's referee, George Courtney from Spennymoor, the only English official chosen for the World Cup finals in Mexico. A blustery night in Manchester for what they're billing as a title eliminator. While nothing, of course, will be settled tonight, defeat for either side would certainly have very serious consequences in what's become an absorbing chase for the championship. Hughes straight away finding Olsen on the far side, although Wood in fact got it there first. Chelsea in their all-blue strip, attacking the Stretford end of the first half, although it's United who made this early sortie here. Great atmosphere here tonight, and certainly the Old Trafford faithful haven't given up the championship by any means. It'll be Olsen then with the free kick. In fact, leaving it there for Alveston. Robson coming in! Oh, and they failed to pick him up there. And there'll be some questions asked there at the Chelsea defence. Been rather shell-shocked of late with the goals that have been conceded by the Chelsea team, and they almost got caught there as Robson came in. Strachan with Rugby. Chelsea looking to restore some confidence in their play after their recent run of poor results. They're certainly showing plenty of aggression. Colin Bates is the player hurt there. And George Courtney just having a quiet word with Mick Duxbury. Duxbury's tackle on it there. Foul by Duxbury. Murphy. The tackle by Gidman. Hazard. Rugby. Both sides struggling to control the ball in this wind. Strachan. Good running then off the ball by Hughes, who was crudely brought down by Rugby. A little bit of retribution, I think, dished out there by Rugby. And a foul earlier on by Duxbury on Pates. And just look here how hard Rugby goes in. Well, Manchester United were expecting a physical battle tonight. It's certainly proving that. Strachan with the free kick. There's a second chance. Still Strachan. Good running here. Now Albiston. Strachan. Finding it hard at the moment to break down this Chelsea defence. Trying again here with Hughes. Really didn't seem any way that he could get through there. And it's a goal kick to Chelsea. Hughes, a player of immense talent. Barcelona's gain will be very much Manchester United's loss. Robson. Did well there, aggressively going. And Davenport couldn't find a way through though. Nevin back to clear. He's hardly been in the game, Nevin, at all. Gidman with a header forward. And now is Olsen. United fans finding their voices now. Higgins. Away though by Pates. The flag was up for offside. Sent off again recently against Queen's Park Rangers. He does seem to get himself in some scrapes. And here he is again now. Hughes. Watson spotted Strachan's run. Davenport was free inside him, but he was brought down again by Rugby. He's already been spoken to by George Courtney, and I think that could well be a booking for Doug Rugby. He's only just come back from a suspension. It's the second pretty hefty foul that he's committed so far, and you can see he's yanked Strachan to the ground. But he is a formidable fellow. I think if he was a scarecrow in the field, the Crows wouldn't only be kept away, they'd probably bring back the corn they took last year. United free kick. Strachan and Robson and Duxbury are all there. Strachan with the kick in. It was Robson's header. So often he's on the end of those crosses. He has that flair and instinct that so few other players possess. And there he is arriving, and he couldn't keep the header down. Higgins was beaten in the air then by Dixon. Spackman going in. There's Kidman. Strachan on for Davenport. Tightly marked though by Pates. Did well to find himself a bit of room. Now then, Strachan. Hughes in the middle of Rugby. The danger hasn't passed yet. Surely handled it though by Robson. It's a measure really of how much United have missed him, that there are only 3 league matches in which he's suffered defeat for Manchester United when he's played. Davenport, the new man from Nottingham Forest, still looking for his first goal. George Courtney wants him to get on with it, and he's booking him there for time wasting. And I must say, it didn't appear to me that the 2 United players were 10 yards away. He was involved in a controversy on Saturday when they conceded a goal for his infringement of regulations. And he was in trouble again then. Flags up, offside. Higgins with the free kick then for Manchester United. Robson. Always prepared to try one from any distance. Dixon and Higgins. This is McGrath. Rugby to Murphy. Hughes, no foul given. Here's Kidman. Strachan. Hughes in the middle, just beyond Godden. And no United player able to apply the finishing touch. And here's Olsen. Alveston. Chelsea defending tenaciously. And they've given away yet another free kick. They've come here tonight in determined mood, Chelsea. David Speedie, I think, has got a little bit of a knock. Nevin. Speedie had just stayed in his own half. Bringing Dixon in now. Can he get away from Kidman? The cross was rather lacking any positive qualities. Strachan. Now then for Kidman. Here's Duxbury, a shooting chance perhaps. Olsen. Now then for Kidman. Strachan from Hughes' header. Marvellously set up then by Hughes. And Strachan, who scored a brilliant goal on Saturday, claiming the corner, felt there was a touch. The referee says no, it's a goal kick. But that was agonisingly close. Lovely layoff then by Hughes. And Strachan driving it just past the post. Albiston to Olsen. An aimless flick though, and then Dixon caught offside. United have really lacked cohesion in this first half and have had trouble breaking Chelsea down. Well, Manchester United haven't beaten Chelsea here in 20 years. If they're to break that run, they're going to have to improve on their first half showing. The news of David Speedie, incidentally, who got an injury in the first half. He's got a bruised instep. Clearly after some treatment at half-time, he's able to continue. McLaughlin. Now Hazard. Oh, Dixon was onside, and it's clear here. Now can Dixon finish? Beautifully done. And in the first minute of the second half, Kerry Dixon, who hadn't scored for 11 games, has delighted those Chelsea fans. Hazard's ball clear. The United defence was totally stretched, and Dixon coolly steered it past Chris Turner. Well, Kerry Dixon hadn't scored since December the 28th, would you believe? But he's found the net tonight, and what an important goal that could be. The flag's up for offside there against Speedie. Kerry Dixon, who's had his worries with injuries, and he seemed to have lost his goal-scoring touch. But my word, he tucked that one away beautifully. So what a fight on now then for Manchester United. Higgins with the free kick. Strachan's ball in. A wince there from Strachan, who perhaps was the closest to a goal in the first half. And now it's Chelsea who've taken the lead here. Chris Turner beaten. Hughes. Olsen. Now then for Robson. Free kick to United. Alderson going down. So Olsen then with a free kick for United. The touch was in and almost there by Hughes. On his foot to the cross. Well, the goal will have lifted both sides, I'm sure. For different reasons, it will certainly stir United into action. This is Davenport. And it's a United throw. Olsen. Now then for Strachan. This is Gidman. Robson arriving! Good goalkeeping then by Gordon. A little clash in the penalty area, Nolan Hughes and McLaughlin. Robson there almost on the end of that cross. It's Gidman knocking the ball over. Robson arriving. Well, if he lost it, he handled it then. Certainly it's difficult to read just which way the ball is going to go in this wind. Now Olsen. Alderson gone outside him. Away from Nevin and then Hazard. The cross was just eluding Higgins arriving, and it was Rugby who turned it up for a corner. Higgins coming in at the far post. Cross was from Albiston. A teasing one it was too, and there for Rugby away for the corner. And United are making a substitution. Gordon Strachan, who did seem to be limping earlier, is coming off to be replaced by Frank Stapleton, who's come on recently as a substitute and could play just about anywhere. That was why he was chosen for the role again. He's such a versatile player. I wonder where he'll slot in. Olsen with the corner. Here's Kidman. McLaughlin got it clear. Stapleton, for the moment at least, has taken up one of the front positions. Strachan, of course, a midfield player. McLaughlin. Chelsea with 9 defenders at the moment. Rugby. Robson with the cross, and Crompton away. And one or two of the Chelsea players a little angry there with Rugby, who seem to be dallying on the ball, which he's acknowledged. Chelsea have given away the corner. The ears of Strachan as he's got a pelvic injury. He certainly did seem to be struggling earlier. Olsen in with the corner. Will it fall here for Albiston? Higgins flicking it on. Chelsea really battling at the back to get it clear. I think it's going to be an all-out rearguard action for them now, as United press for an equaliser. Duxbury to McGrath. Really has summed up some of United's play. It's really lack cohesion at times. And there's certainly no way that they're playing as they did in the first couple of months of the season, when they were quite outstanding, those 10 straight wins. McLaughlin. McGrath was in before Hazard. Now then for Albiston. Here's Olsen. Robson had to stretch. Murphy. Oh, it's Speedy. He's clear. Balked in surely by McGrath. Clearly obstructed. The two of them exchanging angry words. Speedy was away then. McGrath, one of the quickest defenders around, quite definitely curtailed his run. And that's a free kick to Chelsea, just outside the area. This is Hazard. Trying to curl it into the top corner. Chelsea will see that certainly as a chance squandered. Free kick to United. Don Rugby, the offender. Not, I may say, for the first time tonight. Halfway through the second half. Can United save this one now? Stapleton going in. Davenport. The whole cluster of players there. Robson coming in too. And no one could find the decisive touch. Darren Wood. Given away though to Higgins. He's found Olsen. Good skill. And bringing now Albiston into the play. Richard soaring into the middle. The contact was from Robson. It's a penalty. Hughes went down, and it's a penalty to United. A golden opportunity now. The foul on Hughes. Olsen will take the kick. He scored 4 out of 4. I wonder what's going through his mind now. Olsen against Godden. Delightfully steered into the corner, and United are back on level terms. Goal number 13 for Jesper Olsen. And you couldn't have a penalty more perfectly placed than that. I saw him score 2 here in a match recently against West Bromwich Albion. And he sent the goalkeeper the wrong way on both occasions there. Godden, in fairness, went the right way, but couldn't reach it. So it's 1-1. And United are back in the hunt. No doubt at all that it was a penalty. And Jesper Olsen has taken full advantage. The foul there by Rugby on Mark Hughes. Ron Atkinson hoping now that his team are indeed back in this game, and he hopes on course for a victory. But Chelsea have other ideas. Here's Speedy. Good effort! Oh, what a save! Magnificent save then by Turner. Speedy's aim was perfect, and somehow Chris Turner acrobatically turned that one away. Beautifully driven, and just look now, Turner tipping it round the post. Well, he's hardly put a foot wrong since coming into the United side. And he wants as much his foot as his hand there to deny David Speedy. And what a contrast in the second half here to the first. Almost lifeless by comparison. And this second half has really bubbled. That was an astonishing save by Chris Turner. The crowd still digesting that save from Turner. His form keeping out Gary Bailey. Bailey really can't have too many complaints when he produces acrobatics like that. Here's Gitman. Davenport with the cross. And Hughes so nearly turned that one in. Sweeping move then by United. More in the style that we were seeing from them early on in the season. And Hughes very close to a goal then. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't quibble at a point at Old Trafford. Indeed, they drew here last season. 1-1. McGrath with the free kick. Robson. Higgins. Robson again. You tie this man down. Robson then again showing his persistence and his bravery, but he couldn't turn it in. Everton to Hazard. Interception though was from Robson, and off goes Hughes. He's escaped now from McLaughlin. Rugby couldn't reach it. Here's Stapleton. He has support from Gibman. Robson! So often he reads the situation perfectly. Gibman's cross in. There's Robson. I'm sure he made contact though. But he has his uncanny knack of arriving at the right time. Dixon. Here's Nevin. The whistle's gone. So much noise here, you can barely hear the whistle. Even the players are struggling to hear it at times. A minute to go. Duxbury. Gibman making the run down that flank, but to no avail. Stapleton going in. Robson. Stapleton again. Good turn then by Robson, but he couldn't find a shooting opportunity. Duxbury. Way by McLaughlin. Albiston. The Chelsea players are throwing themselves into desperate tackles now, hoping to deny United. Hughes. Here's Olsen. Did well to get his cross in. Then Robson was almost on the end of it. Chelsea defending admirably here. And on the break now themselves with Speedy. And Dixon found beautifully! And in the last minute of the game, Kerry Dixon with his second goal of the night has put this game surely beyond United and ended their title dreams and kept Chelsea's very much alive. Kerry Dixon, so long without a goal, and he's come back here tonight with 2. And what a part David Speedy played in that goal too. Cool finishing from Dixon. We're into injury time. It's all over. And that may well apply now to United's championship challenge. Chelsea have bounced back here in style tonight. A disastrous Easter. The 2 goals from Kerry Dixon have earned them 3 points here tonight at Old Trafford. Acknowledging the applause of the Chelsea fans who made the trip up north. And the trip was well worthwhile. The hero of Chelsea tonight is Kerry Dixon. It's Manchester United 1, Chelsea 2.